What up, YouTube? Weather's turning good. Tomorrow I'm firing up the smoker and I'm doing a beef brisket. Prepping this the night before, got my dry rub, a little bit of homebrew, my injection, heating that up right now so that everything melts up good and it actually goes in well. We're going to put the first layer of dry rub on tonight. We're going to inject it tonight and then we're going to let it marinate overnight. Tomorrow set up the smoker and put on the second layer of dry rub and let it cook. So first thing we got to do is trim down our brisket. When you get these and you pull them out, I always pull them out and then I rinse them off. Usually you're going to get the grain going this way. You just kind of want to make note of it so that you know when you cut this that you're cutting against the grain. Once this gets a bark on it and it comes off the smoker, you're not going to be able to really tell which direction the grain is until you make your first cut. I am by no means a competition barbecue guy, but I do love this stuff. So all I'm doing now is trimming off some of the big pieces of fat. You want some fat, just like with ribs, because we want that fat to render out and make this nice and juicy. We just don't want tons and tons of fat. And all I'm doing now is basically just, I cut this down and every now and then I just check it to see that I'm not taking off too much fat. All right, so this is pretty good. This is how I want it. I want some fat on here. You've got the marbleized fat within there, and that's pretty much all we're looking for. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put on our dry rub. Now you can inject it and then put on the dry rub. You can put on the dry rub and then inject it. I put on the dry rub and then I inject it because I find it's less messy and it still turns out delicious. So this is the first layer of dry rub. This is just real basic salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and some other spices that I put them away, so I don't remember exactly what they are, but I do it to taste. If your rub tastes good, chances are your food's gonna taste good. If you're gonna sit this overnight, just like with the ribs or anything else you're doing, always use kosher salt. I mean, I use kosher salt for all my stuff, but if you're gonna let it sit on a piece of meat for a period of time, make sure you're using kosher salt. Your injection, you don't have to boil it. All you got to do is heat it up enough to where all the ingredients, the bouillon and stuff like that, kind of melt out. So that's good. So this is prepped. We're gonna leave it wrapped like this, leave it in its drip tray in case anything comes out of the plastic. Put this in the fridge. We're just gonna let it marinate overnight. Tomorrow we're gonna get up early, fire up the smoker, get it up to temperature. We're gonna try and get up to about 250, get the smoke going, nice clean blue smoke, and get it ready to put this on for the cook. So the brisket's been marinating overnight, and with the injection, leaked a lot of blood out and stuff like that. That's why you always want to use that pan. And we're pulling it out. We're gonna let it start warming up to room temperature while we get the fire going in the smoker. Step one is to get the smoker going, get it up to temperature and get it level. Then we'll start adding the smoke and then we'll put the meat on. So the smoker's up to about 246 degrees. We're getting close to 250. Once it gets to 250, that's where we're gonna work the vents to try and level it off right there and throw on our wood. In the meantime, we're getting ready to prep the brisket to go on. Now this has been sitting out as we've been bringing up the temperature in the smoker. So we're just gonna pull this guy out of his juices. We're gonna give him his final dry rub before it goes on to cook. I've got an offset smoker, so I will be cooking fat side up. I know there's a bunch of discrepancy about that, but it's always worked good for me. We're gonna hit this with paprika, chili powder. This just adds a Montreal steak. This stuff is awesome. Goes really great with beef. It's got nice big, chunks to it for texture. Adds a little bit more salt. We're not going to go too crazy with this stuff because it is We've already kind of seasoned it with the first layer of dry rub. All right, so we're just at 3.5 hours of cook time. The bark is on there. Internal temperature is up to 160. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it for the remainder of the cook. When I wrap it, I add a little bit more of the juice. All right, so we got the internal temperature up to 198. I brought it in now. I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna let it vent for 15 minutes, just to get it to stop cooking. Then I'm gonna seal it back up and I'm gonna let it rest for about an hour. And then at that time, it'll be ready to cut. Look at that nice bark color. Down. Here we go. I don't know if you can see that nice pink smoke ring. Look at that smoke penetration right there. Oh, and it just pulls apart. Perfect. Well, that's it. It's beef brisket. It's time to eat. So there you have it. Beef brisket on the smoker. This is the way I do it. Feel free to share the way you do it. The only rule is, you gotta enjoy it.